Alright, so this lesson is for Monday, October 10th, 2011, and today we're going to be conducting a Freefall Acceleration Lab where we'll be getting some position data for Y as the ball drops from a certain known height. Just to give you an idea of what it's going to look like, we'll be going out to the foyer in the front of the school, and we're going to be dropping a ball from a certain height, which you can see up here. And when we know that height, to calculate that height, we're going to be basically taking the height of each step, and we're going to multiply by the number of steps, and then we're going to get the height from the bottom of the floor of the second floor up to where the ball is. Once you get that height, the total height from the floor all the way to where the ball is going to be dropped, we're going to go ahead and drop the ball and record that with a video camera. So it should look something like this when we're done. Alright, now once we're done getting that video, we're going to go ahead and come inside, and we're going to be working at our desktop computers at the back of the room. We're going to be opening up the software for Logger Pro, and it's on the desktop. It's called Logger Pro. When you open it up, it will look like this on the screen. Now, from here, you're going to go to Insert Video after you've uploaded your video to your computer. I'll be saving it onto your desktop. So you'll be going to Insert, and you go down here to Movie. We're going to click on Desktop because I'm going to save the video to your desktop. The video should be labeled MVI underscore and then some number after it. So this is the video that I just showed you. So we'll go ahead and open that video. You can drag the video around by clicking on the border and moving it like this. So we'll go to move it to right here, and we'll change the shape of this graph by clicking on it and then adjusting the parameters right there, just so we can see both at the same time. Okay. The next thing we'll want to do is, on this video, there's actually a toolbar for enabling and disabling video analysis. And it's this little button right over here. So we're going to go ahead and click on that button so we can open up these other options. You'll notice that on top of the data table, it's also changed this to say video analysis now. We're going to go ahead and come over here. We're going to click on Add Point. Okay. Oh wait, getting a little bit ahead of myself. Before we do that, we're going to actually want to play the video and get it to the point right before we drop the ball. So we'll go ahead and play. Okay, so he dropped the ball right there, and I'm a little bit past that point. So to get back to where the ball is, these are frame advance, the next frame, or previous frame. And we're going to want to go previous frame until we get to that point right as he was dropping the ball. So you'll notice the ball moving up. Okay, so right here is where he starts dropping the ball, and that's where we're going to have to advance the movie to. Again, we'll press play till we get to that point, stop it, get to the exact point where he drops the ball. From here, we're going to go ahead and go over here, and this little thing right here, this little button is for the add point. We're going to go ahead and click that button, and you'll notice that when I bring my mouse over, now it's not a mouse pointer, it's an actual cursor, a crosshair cursor, and we're going to put the ball right at the center of that crosshair, and we're going to left click it. Now you'll notice as I click it, it's going to advance the time. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and keep clicking right on top of the ball. Also, you'll notice that it's actually put an X point, position point, and a Y position point. So we'll go ahead and go back over that ball, click again. So again, it's advanced a frame. We're going to want to do this pretty slowly because as the ball drops, see now that it's dropping, we'll go ahead and refocus the crosshair on the ball each time as it drops. Okay, so right here the ball has actually hit the ground. You'll notice we have all these points showing that. If we wanted to actually look at this data, we can drag these over a little bit. So drag the video over. We can drag the graph over. And we'll go to enlarge by clicking on this slide tab. Okay, so you'll notice that for each point we have an x and y component for where it's at, and we have a time as the time went through. Okay, we also have the computer calculate, or Logger Pro calculating our x velocity and y velocity. The ball really didn't move left and right. The reason it actually has these is because as I clicked the points, they weren't in a perfect line as it went down. Okay, so from here, now that we have all this set up and you have a better picture of what's going on, we're going to want to go ahead and click on this Set Scale button right here on the vertical axis of the toolbar. So we'll click the Set Scale button, and we'll go down here to this bottom point. You'll want to notice that I'm going to look at the x value here because I have to keep that x value. So I'm going to look at it, and it's about 1.165. So I'll left click, and I'll bring that up to the top point. I'm sorry, 166. I'll bring it up to the top point, the height of the top point, and then I'll release the mouse button. And it's going to bring up this little scale window. We're going to want to put in whatever change in position or displacement we had calculated by measuring. In the case of our drop here, it was 5.56 meters, so we'll go ahead and put that in, 5.56, and then here you can put the units, in our case, the meters. So I'll click OK. Notice that it changed the scale. Right here, it also changed our values in our data table. After we've done that, we're going to want to go ahead and set the origin. You'll notice that it shows it starting at 6, but I said it was 5.56. The reason it starts at 6 here is because it's actually taking into account this bottom part. It's counting the pixels here as actual distance. But we wanted to set this as our baseline where it hits. This is going to be 0 for us. So we're going to go ahead and come over here to Set Origin. This little tab right here. We'll click it. And you'll notice there's a yellow line here. Now if I left click, and I hold that left click, I can drag this over to the bottom, right at 0, 0. And if you look up at the top of that video, you'll see it's 0, 0. And that's the point where we want this bottom point to be. So we'll go ahead and get to that point. We'll stop clicking, and it'll leave it on your screen where we want it. Okay, so now when we're at this bottom point, it's right at 0, 0. All right, now, you'll notice over here on our graph, it's also now around 5.56 meters as the height, which is what we wanted. Okay, now from this point, you're going to have to go back to your data table, and I'm going to need you guys to collect some data. You'll notice that there are a ton of points here. For me, in doing this, I ended up with 34 different point values, going from here all the way down to the last one. We're not going to be concerned with the x values again, like I said, so you'll just pretend like they're not there. Or if you want to get rid of them, an easy way to do that is to right click here at the top. You can go to Table Options, and you can just make it to where it doesn't show those. Okay, so it'll shrink your graph so you're only looking at the points you want. Now what I want you to do is pick at least 15 points from here to the end. Okay, it can be any 15 points. You can pick, this point right here, the third one. You can pick the 6th one, 14th one. But I do want it to be in regular intervals, so maybe like every 2 points or maybe every 3 points, you pick one. And you're going to write down the time, the position data, and the y velocity for each of those points. So you should have a data table that looks something like this at the top, and then you should have about 15 points going down. Again, alternate the point values that you take. Okay, once you've gotten this data and you've written it down, you're going to be making some graphs for homework, and I'll be going over that in class. But basically, you're going to make a position time graph and then a velocity time graph, and you're going to bring that in tomorrow so we can do some analysis for it. All right, I hope you enjoyed the lesson, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy the lab. We're going to be using this several times throughout the year to do two-dimensional motion and some other stuff with kinetic and potential energy. Thank you very much.